The baby was born screaming, not the normal cry of a newborn, but a sharp, desperate sound that echoed through the hospital hallway and refused to stop. Nurses said they had never heard anything like it. By sunrise, 3 people were dead, and the crying finally stopped. The police report lists the time of birth as 2:17 a.m. A power outage had already swallowed half the hospital, forcing doctors to work under emergency lights. The mother arrived alone, bleeding heavily, repeating the same sentence over and over again. "He doesn't belong here." Minutes after the child was delivered, the mother lost consciousness. When nurses turned back toward the crib, the baby was silent, staring upward, eyes wide open, unblinking. No tears, no movement, just watch. Before the sun rose, a nurse collapsed near the maternity ward. Cause of death: sudden cardiac arrest. An hour later, a security guard was found lifeless near the stairwell. No wounds, no struggle, and by morning the mother was dead too. Her heart simply stopped. The hospital sealed the ward. Police called it coincidence. The baby was sent away. The orphanage took him in and gave him a name: Elias. From the beginning, something was wrong. He never cried, he never laughed, and he never slept when the other children did. Caretakers reported that Elias stared at people for far too long, as if memorizing them. Children began waking up exhausted, claiming someone stood beside their beds at night. Pets stopped coming near the building. Small animals were later found dead around the property, untouched but cold. A caretaker finally admitted what everyone was thinking: "It feels like something is feeding, and he's the door." Police were called after a 6-year-old boy was found unconscious with bruises on his neck. Elias was discovered sitting quietly in the hallway nearby, his hands clean, his expression empty. There was no proof, no witnesses, and no explanation, so the case was closed. The first real incident happened during a storm. Power failed, cameras went dark, and when the lights returned, Elias was gone. Staff searched the building until a faint sound drifted from the basement, a soft giggle echoing through the concrete halls. When a caretaker followed it, she froze in place. The child was standing in the dark, his shadow stretching unnaturally along the wall, moving even when he didn't. When she screamed, the shadow moved first. She survived, barely. Police arrived, took statements, and removed Elias from the orphanage. The official reason: child endangerment concerns. The unofficial reason was whispered only once: "This child isn't alone." Elias died 2 weeks later. At least, that's what the file says. The cause was listed as unknown. The body was buried quietly, without ceremony, without mourners. No one attended the funeral, except 2 officers and a priest who refused to stay long. 3 nights later, the cemetery caretaker reported crying. Not from above the ground, from below it. Police opened the grave at dawn. The coffin was empty. Scratch marks lined the inside of the lid. Thin, frantic grooves carved by small hands that should never have had the strength to escape. Near the tree line, officers found fresh footprints. Bare, child-sized, leading into the forest. The final sighting came from an abandoned house at the edge of town. Neighbors reported lights turning on by themselves, a child's laughter drifting through broken windows. Officers entered carefully, weapons drawn, hearts racing. They found Elias standing in the living room. He looked smaller now, thinner, hollow. When an officer whispered his name, the child tilted his head and smiled, not with joy, but with recognition, as if remembering something old. The temperature dropped, shadows thickened, and for the first time, Elias spoke. Not like a child, like something that had learned to use one. The officer never repeated what was said. He resigned the next day. The house burned down that night. No bodies were found. Ending the truth they couldn't bury. The case remains officially unsolved. Some believe the child was possessed. Others say trauma created a monster. And a few believe something ancient found its way into the world through a newborn who never stood a chance. But one detail remains consistent across every report: Elias cried when he was born, and never again, because whatever raised him didn't need tears. And if you ever hear a baby crying in the dark, be careful what you assume is alone.